Joining us is our very own City Council President, Dr. Jennifer Campbell. First elected in 2018, Dr. Campbell represents the City Council District 2. She studied history at George Washington University, where she became involved in the civil rights movement, marching with Martin Luther King Jr. and against the Vietnam War. She later earned her medical degree from the University of Pittsburgh Medical School, and she's practiced and taught family medicine for 37 years. Dr. Campbell, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You certainly have a lot on your plate as the newly elected City Council President. So, again, we are certainly grateful for the time you're providing us here today. Now, I know we brought you on to talk about short term vacation rentals, but before we move into that conversation, I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about another issue that you actually successfully advanced this past November, and that is Measure E, the Midway District. Can you tell us a little bit about that measure and why that matters for the region?
Absolutely. The Midway District, as you know, has been suffering for years uh, as a sort of not a very attractive neighborhood. And the people who live there and work there and own businesses there came to us and asked, would we please put forward um, a measure for the ballot so that we could change the height limit in that area. And that is because it was part of the coastal zone, which, as you know, is zoned for 30 feet height only at the max. And this particular area is not on the water. It's not on the bay. It's not on the ocean. And it just happens to be west of 5. It's only a little bit over 1,000 acres involved. And if you take out the Marine Corps Recruit Depot, it comes out to, around 900 acres. So it's a very small planning group area. And so we took a look at everything and felt that, their ask was really quite reasonable. And also given the fact that the sports arena is right there, and that we want to create either a fixed up or a new sports arena, it's very difficult to do unless we change the height limit because it would be stuck at 30 feet in height, which may be pretty much impossible for a sports arena. So with all of that taken into consideration, it seemed like a very reasonable thing to do. And the planning group in that neighborhood unanimously requested this. And so we were glad to bring it forward and see how it did. Well, as you know, the whole city council, just about the whole city council voted to get it on the ballot. And indeed, the citizens of the city voted for it. So it makes good sense. It doesn't affect any height limits in any other parts of the coastal zone, only for the Midway area.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. As it relates to short term vacation rentals, first of all, we applaud you for choosing to take on such a difficult issue that's been debated by City Council for at least the past 5 years. As you know, back in 2018, City Council did move on a measure that ultimately had to be withdrawn just because of the pushback. And what they sought to do at that time was essentially ban whole home vacation rentals. Now, you've taken a different approach here where you allow for some permitting around that and additional regulations. This is all done through a four-tiered structure. Can you take a few moments to walk us through those tiers? And as you're doing so, we will provide some information on the screen so members can follow along.
Um, there are 4 tiers, as you mentioned. The first tier, tier 1, is just for those few people who rent out their home only during special occasions such as Comic-Con. And they will need to get a license now to do that. And they can use their home for that 20 days of the year for a special event. And they have to be licensed. They have to follow all the rules and regulations that everyone else will have to follow who has a short-term rental. But we did want to make it possible for people to do that because I know a lot of times with things like Pride and Comic-Con, and there just isn't enough hotel space or other short-term rentals available. So we wanted to provide that for those citizens. Then there's tier 2. Tier 2 is for those who wish to home share. So if you own your own home, but you have a spare room, for example, and you wish to have that rented out on a short-term basis, you can apply for a license for tier 2. and there is no maximum limit on those. That would be citywide, and whatever, whoever wants to apply and meet the criteria and pay the license fee and collect the tax, etc., that will be done. So that's tier 2. And then we have tier 3, and tier 3 is the section for people who have a whole home rental that they wish to use as a short-term rental. And they again can apply for the license, follow all the rules, and there is a limit on the number of whole home rentals. And the reason for that is that there have been so many thousands of them here in San Diego, and we are so short on housing, as you realtors know so well, that we wanted to decrease the number of whole home rentals in the hope that more housing would become available on the market for our full-time San Diego residents and workers, either to rent or to buy. So that's the reasoning behind this. And it decreases the number and puts a cap on it. And all the parties involved have agreed to I believe it's going to turn out in the final ordinance to be a 1% cap based on the number of housing units that is put out by Sandag every year. And then tier 4 is only for Mission Beach. And Mission Beach, as you know, for 90 years or so, has been a great place for vacation rentals and short-term and also for whole summers, etc. So Mission Beach was quite upset because they lost so many of their housing units to short-term rentals. They had probably 60% and still have to this day, at least 60% of their housing is taken up with short-term rentals, and much of that is whole home rentals. So they got together, a group of citizens, about 3 years ago, and they met and discussed this. They had people from all sides of the issue, and they came up with a 30% collaboration that they could all agree to, and that would reduce their number of whole home rentals and short-term vacation rentals by half, by 100%. So they go from 60% down to 30% max. So that would be a tier 4 license, and again, following all the regulations. And so that's basically the 4 tiers.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. And I see we have a question in the queue here. It's from Richard Woods. Hello, Richard. I'm going to go ahead and turn on your video so you can ask a question of our council president. Go ahead.
Yes, Council President Campbell. My name is Richard Woods, broker owner of Woods Real Estate Services and also with the Metro Caravan. I'm hoping to get some clarity as it relates to who can qualify for a short-term rental permit under your proposal. For example, if an owner uses a property management company, can the property manager apply for the permit? If so, could the property owner then apply for a separate permit for a different property? And what happens if the property is sold? Thanks very much.
Well, that is really, really great questions. And we did take them up in the ordinance. So first of all, only the property owner can apply for a license. And they can only have one license of the 4 tiers. They can only pick one. So that answers that part. In terms of if they sell their property, the license does not go with it. Whoever buys the property, if they want to have a short-term vacation rental on that property, they will have to apply for a license on their own.
Thank you for that clarification, Dr. Campbell. Can you tell us a little bit about the next steps for this proposal? Where do we go from here and how our members can weigh in?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We want to hear from everybody. We love hearing everybody's ideas. And you can email our office and we will get all those emails and give us your ideas. We'd love to hear from you, or call and leave a phone message if you like. The ordinance was in draft form, and now it's going through its final play with the city attorneys to make sure everything is covered, that we're seeing if we can incorporate some of those suggestions from the Planning Commission. As you know, it was passed unanimously. So we're working on that right now with the lawyers. And as soon as we get the ordinance in final form, then it will be docketed to be voted upon by the city council members.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the group before you head out today?
I just want to add one thing that we wanted to make sure everybody is aware. We wanted to give some lead time to people who own these properties. And that is, it's going to be almost a year. We're hoping that this will go into effect in January of 2022. And so that hopefully we'll get it passed pretty soon through council. So that should give everyone maybe 11 months, 10 to 11 months to look at the requirements, see if they want to continue in the short-term rental business after 2021 is over with, and decide what they want to do with their property.
Well, Dr. Campbell, again, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you providing some clarification around your short-term vacation rental policy. I know a lot of our members are going to be very interested moving forward, and I'm sure you'll hear some input from them. So thank you again.